Hey, this is Mike. Thank you so much for choosing this video. Tonight we're checking out a 2022 Chrysler Pacifica plug-in hybrid with the S appearance package at night. So this video focuses on the interior and exterior lighting of the vehicle. Check my channel for the full overview. It's a separate video. First, I want to point out that when I have the headlight switched to the complete off position, there's still headlights on. There's still lights here in the front. No tail lights on, but just lights here in the, like a dimmer version of the headlights here in the front. So you could accidentally mistake these as headlights, so something to consider. So now I have the parking lights on and it looks like the headlights are on. But they're not. The headlights are illuminated, but they're not fully on. And also if you have the fog light switch on, your fog lights will also turn on when you turn on the parking lights. So let me just show you what we're looking at here. We've got an LED accent or strip there on the outside. You see there around the outside, nice bright LED, very impressive and strong but soft at the same time. And then you have a multi-reflector fog light here at the bottom. Now there's also a side marker, amber side marker here in the front. A red side marker here in the back next to the wheel well. And then the taillights are now on. And these are red, nice, strong, glowing red color. Nice. Now let me turn the brightness down a little bit. Hopefully you can see how sharp and crisp this is. Nice red. Extends from one side to the other, kind of blends in and integrated nicely with the design of the vehicle. It doesn't just look like a tacked on light or anything. Really nice. These are visible from all around, even here on the sides. Turn signal indicator here in the front is an amber in color, and it is a standard bulb right here. So right in there is the amber color. Standard bulb flashing, not super bright, but it does have an amber turn signal indicator here on the side mirror, and you can see that from the front, the side, and the back. So it looks like a little dot when you're facing it from the back. But the tail light is super bright. It is in red in color, and it is super bright, and it's in a fairly high position as well. Turn the brightness down because everything makes it look kind of orangey when the brightness is up. So it is a nice deep red. Now of course it's a very much brighter portion when the turn signal is on than normally. So now when I turn the switch from parking lights to headlights, there's not much of a difference right there. You can see there's not much of a difference, but it does have the capability of high beams without turning it to the actual headlight switch position. You don't have the high beams and of course the automatic high beams and stuff like that. So you definitely have to either use the automatic or the headlight switch there. So the low beam is an LED projector, and it's able to refocus when you put it in high beams and join in with the inner portion. The high beams is a reflector LED, and this is the projector. It has the lens there on the outside, and there's a clear cutoff. So as I dip down, you'll see it when the camera reaches the cutoff. You'll see it get bright right here. So you can see it's quite a bit dimmer above that cutoff. And as I come down here, get the full brightness basically. When I turn the high beams on, the fog lights now turn off, and the high beams, like I said, the low beams and the high beams work together. So there is the projector on the outside and the reflector there on the inside, now illuminated. And the projector is able to refocus when you turn on the high beams. So let's go here to lowering the camera. You can see it's a much higher position. I don't know if you can tell, but it's a higher position where the inner portion starts to shine on the camera. And as I dip down, it's basically the whole full blast, all the lights shine on the camera. So the cargo area has two lights. There's one like over the shoulder type light right here underneath the lift gate, which I wish it had two. Wish I had another one on the other side. There's even place for it, but it doesn't have it. Maybe in a higher trim. But it has this over the shoulder light, and then it has this light here. Kind of like just a little tiny spotlight. But between the both of them, it does a fairly decent job. Not spectacular, but considering we're dealing with black interior, not too bad. It does a decent job of illuminating this area. Now when you fold these seats down, you'll also have the benefit of these third row lights kind of spilling over a little bit as well. But we have the seats in place, so the lights have to be focused directly here in the cargo area. So it could be a little bit better. I think they could have maybe one on the side here, maybe two under here, you know, and then definitely another one of these. This one and this one here. Definitely one right there. Gotta have that. That would just help out so much. And also it illuminates a little bit on the ground as well. So those lights under the liftgate are really nice. Wish more manufacturers would utilize those. So there's no puddle lights or anything here on the door, but when you slide it back, take a look at the third row, because you can see the third row with those two lights there with black interior does a decent job of illuminating that area. It even has some backlit USB ports there, and you can see the cup holders and all that stuff, fairly decent. So not bad at all actually. Now the second row, let's go ahead and move the seat back here. One cool thing is it has under seat lights here. So you got a light under there, and as well as on the other side. So that kind of helps out with kind of seeing in that floorboard, because the interior lights, they're there on the side and they could get blocked by the seats. So it illuminates these seats okay, but the floorboards can potentially be dark. So they added that light there, which is really nice. And you'll notice on the inside of the doors here, the sliding door, there's not really any lights there. But there is a light, now you see it there on the other side. There's a light here for sliding the door back. That's illuminated. But there's also another one, it's kind of hard to see, but there's another one right in here. And that's for moving this seat forward. Same thing on the other side. So there's some backlit illuminated buttons there. This one also has the entertainment center system on the back of each headrest, which is cool. There's one on the other side and one here, and they can play two different things with this system. It's pretty neat. Now the inside of the driver's door, there is a puddle light. So it shines right there on the ground, so you can see what you're stepping in, which is nice. There's also, kind of hard to see, but there is a little light under here, as well as here where the handle is. There's a backlit button there for the release the fuel door, and then there's backlit buttons here, presets for the seats there. Now the floorboard is nice and bright, and I'm glad they did that. For one thing, just finding something on the floor is nice to have a bright light, but this one has this compartment here. It has no light at all until you turn on the interior lights, and then it shines lights in there from the floorboard. So that compartment there is completely dark otherwise. So at least you're able to see in there when you turn on the interior lights. Now there is some other compartments here that are dark, and you have to kind of improvise there, but we'll get into that in just a minute. So I have the door open, interior lights still on, so you can see what it looks like. Go ahead and shut the door. And we'll be left with backlit buttons here. So here on the door, we can see the pocket there at the bottom is illuminated. The door switches, a little light around the handle. To the left of the steering column is the headlight switch and dimmer switches. I'll show you those in just a minute. Steering wheel has the backlit buttons, even color-coded, some of them, which is nice. There's the gauges, the nice blue in the background there. Looks nice. It's easy on the eyes. It's fairly bright as far as like being able to see it and how it looks nice, but it's not like hurting your eyes or anything. It's just a really good, even at the full blast. We'll change the brightness here in a minute. It does get kind of a little bit bright, but even the screen over here, it's very easy on the eyes, but the contrast is so good and the clarity and the resolution is so good that you're able to see everything perfectly. There's the climate controls. So we're starting to get into some issues down in this area, right in here. So right in here is a pocket that there is zero light. So I'm gonna have to turn on the interior lights so we can see what we're talking about. There's a pocket right here, and it goes in. That's completely dark, that whole area. And right in here is mostly dark. There definitely needs to be a light here as well as here. So it has this little cover, and you can see that this area here there's a little bit of assistance, and I'll show you what I'm talking about in a minute. But that area definitely could use some light. Definitely this pocket here. So let me turn the interior lights back off, and you can see how dark it is there. But we do have some backlit connections there. So USB, USB-C, and auxiliary inputs all backlit. And my phone's charging right now, so you can see the little light on for that, for the wireless charger. These cup holders are nicely lit, and this bottle kind of illuminates the light a little bit around the outside. It's pretty cool. All right, so before I go any further, you'll notice there's this light right here that's kind of illuminating this area. If we follow it up, it's coming from right there, and that is adjustable, the brightness of that light. So back to the switches here. There's two scroll wheels, one on the left, one on the right. The one on the left is for that light, so we can adjust the brightness of that light. And that light shines here. It's kind of like a soft moonlight, and it kind of helps out a little bit in this area, tiny bit here, and this compartment. So this compartment right here there's no light in here. There's no dedicated light. There is some lights here for these power outlets here, just so you can find them in the dark. But there's no dedicated lights. But you can see there's enough light to cast a shadow in there in the compartment. So depending on, like my business cards here are kind of bright, so you can see those. So if something's dark, you might not be able to see it, but you can kind of works. It kind of helps out. Definitely would prefer an actual real light in this compartment, at least a very soft one. But you know, that light coming from the top kind of helps out a little bit, but still lacking in my mind. You can see the light here. Also, there's cup holders back here. Let me go ahead and turn on the interior lights again. Oh, wrong. There we go. Okay, so right here, these cup holders and this compartment is completely dark right here. So with the interior lights on, you can see in there fairly decent. So that's good, at least that. But yeah, a lot of compartments here that are just not adequately lit. All right, the glove compartment does have a light in it. It's only on one side though, so it kind of, as you can see, there's other stuff in there. It kind of fills up and blocks the light, but it does have a light, so that's good. It's kind of just lopsided there instead of the center part. It is fairly bright. The rearview mirror does have some backlit buttons here for roadside assistance. And we saw this light here in the center, here at the top, this ambient light. But there's also backlit buttons for the sunroof and the sunshade. Also the interior lights here are backlit, which is nice. Opening up the lift gate and do the side doors here. You can also turn off the side doors, which is nice. And all that's backlit, which is cool. There's a HomeLink garage door opener control that's on the visor here that's backlit, which is nice. And the visor has this little mirror, but two nice bright lights right in your eyeballs. There we go. Also there in the second row, just to show you what the climate control looks like for the second row, is there. It's all backlit, easy to read. Okay, so the scroll wheel, we already saw that one scroll wheel. The second one is to dim basically the gauges, the screen, and all these backlit buttons can be adjusted with this other wheel. And what happens is you can just scroll all the way down. That's the lowest right there, very, very dim. And then you go up to the highest. Then there's a first click. Now it's super bright. It's a little bit too, it's definitely too bright. It's gonna cause problems driving at night like this. But if you need to have it at the maximum brightness, this is it. And then if you click one more time up, that's what turns on the interior lights. So that little scroll wheel here is what I'm using to adjust the brightness and then to turn on the interior lights. And you can see it has a nice bright light here on the floorboard, so we can find something if we drop it here in the floorboard. Even in this dark carpet, this dark interior, you can see in there pretty good. So the interior lights are nice and bright. The fact that there's not they're kind of placed decently, but the fact that they're so bright really helps out with seeing in here. With this dark interior, it's helping out a lot. This vehicle has what's called fam cam or family cam right here. And when we hit that, it shows the inside of the vehicle, and at nighttime, it has night vision, which is really cool. So it gives you a close-up of wherever you want to look at. So if you want to look at the left side, the right side, the rear, center, side, that kind of thing. So you can keep an eye on kids and stuff like that in the back, you know. So kind of gives you that top-down view, which is pretty cool. And you can see very good at nighttime because it's completely dark back there. I don't know if you can tell. I mean, nothing even show on the camera. All right, so let's go ahead and put it in reverse so you can see the backup camera and camera system. Nice and bright. It illuminates everything and amplifies the brightness around the vehicle. So yeah, I mean, even in the shadows, you can see pretty dang good. You have different views here. Okay, so looking at these bushes right here, you can see a clear cutoff right there. And it looks a little bit weird because I'm not on a flat surface. But you can see there's a little bit of a dip there on the left side versus the right side. And that's intended to not blind oncoming traffic. But I have the automatic high beams. I'll go ahead and turn that on because right here is this low beams, there's high beams. So you can see the difference on those bushes. But we'll go ahead and put the automatic high beams on. And they seem to be working, but I can quickly turn them off if they start flashing people or whatever. Okay, so there's your automatic high beams turning on. You can see this road kind of dips down and up. We'll see if it, yep, okay, so it recognized that vehicle off in the distance, so that's good. But yeah, that little dip down spot is supposed to land right around where the oncoming traffic lane is. So as the variations in the road raise and lower that cutoff on the headlights, is supposed to make it less likely for it to hit the other drivers in their face, basically. Depends on how low their vehicle is too. Right there, nice dark road, high beams are on, and you can see pretty good. It seems to fade a little bit down the road, but could be just the lay of the land here. Yeah, you can actually see pretty good when you get the light aiming in the right position here. Yeah. It's pretty good, and with the low beams, with those fog lights kind of extend there on the sides of the vehicle, the sides of the road. Yeah, that's looking really nice. So this road has the trees offset from the road quite a ways, so you can kind of see the distance a little bit better there on the sides and in front of you. Now the front center sometimes seems to be obscured a little bit, or it just kind of fades out a little bit, but it's really not that bad. Part of that is the height of the vehicle. So if there's like a little bit of a rolling hill or something like that, the height of the headlights themselves are much lower than eye level. So it might ripples in the road or rolling deviations in elevation will cast a shadow down the road in which my eyes can see, but the headlights would not be shining on it. Hopefully that made sense. But yeah, these are really nice, and the automatic high beams seem to be working great so far. I hadn't had any problem with them yet, but they're working good now too, so that's great.